What we do know is that this government thinks they feel they need to insert themselves in the affairs of post-secondary that are beyond their scope.
A controversial bill has some student organizations concerned about the province's overreach and how the bill could affect them. Bill 33, called the Advanced Education Administration Amendment Act, enables the Minister of Advanced Education, Skills and Immigration to issue guidelines for tuition and student fees. This has the official opposition, student and faculty organizations up in arms.
The impacts of Bill 33 are that the minister is taking direct control over tuition, direct control over student fees, which means that students won't have the autonomy to control the services that they're able to provide. That's a huge impact for students.
On Friday, the minister confirmed with the Manitoba Alliance of Post-Secondary Students that the bill does not plan to interfere with student union fees, which help fund student life activities as well as health and dental plans, food banks, and bus passes. But the Canadian Federation of Students Manitoba urges the minister to make this language clear in the bill.
They're putting forward this vague and potentially dangerous piece of legislation without having done any of their homework. They don't have a clear idea of how they're going to be using the powers they are giving themselves. How can we trust them with this portfolio?
CFS Manitoba has started an online petition against the bill, stating the province did not consult with students when creating it. They also oppose any political influence on the government's behalf to interfere with student organizations and their democratic process. Something that faculty agree with as well, referencing the legislation allowing the province to set different levels of tuition fees.
To perform their mission, universities must be free from political interference over academic matters. They cannot have the minister looking over their shoulder, telling them which programs are politically acceptable and which are not.
Forbes compares Bill 33 to Ontario's Student Choice Initiative in 2019, which was taken to court by student organizations and struck down. Ultimately, CFS says the bill affects the quality of support students receive.
This bill disrupts the vital delivery of services on campuses, as those would be the first to go if this government were to place financial restraints on administrations. This would mean less support in student services for international and Indigenous students, loss of public student spaces on campus, less funding for programming and/or employment opportunities on campus, lower quality and delivery of mental health services for students, and so much more.
In Winnipeg, Marie Gomez, City News.